Oh boy, do I have a feeling a lot of you are not going to like this target. Hey everyone, Derpy here, and welcome back to another Battle Pirates video. Today I'm running through the 184. This is my first time looking at it, and I can say this thing looks quite scary. This center island has 4 different of these rocket turrets on it, as well as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 brimstones sitting around the target. This thing's going to be kind of crazy, so let's just get started running through. I'm going to zoom in so you can see things a little bit more clearly and go for this first set of mortars. These things shouldn't do any damage to my ships because I have high enough projectile speed I can shoot down everything here. And yes, I do have some of these new mortars on my Everest fleet, but it has a U3 flagship, a U3 flagship, U2 regular, and then the second ship is at U0, another one at U0, and then the last 2 are at U2. Not a fully upgraded fleet, and definitely no X1s on this thing. I probably will never get an Everest up to X1. Alright, here we go, and let's just take down the first one of these ships. That's pretty easy, just go around the outside, don't get close to that one. My plan is going to be to loop around the entire island and kill the turrets that are actually going to do damage to me, and then use the different mountains here. You can use these mountains to block off some of these rockets, which seems like a pretty good plan to me as I go through this. I am going to take some amount of damage, which is force from these brimstones. Let's try and get those down fairly quickly. If you wanted to take the least amount of damage possible, you would do a little bit of tanking here, try and make sure that the brimstone, which is splash, only shoots at one ship or only hits one ship at a time. That is quite tricky because it has the king killer mechanic on there, which means it targets the ship with the highest health, so you can't just run a tank out in front as you normally would, which is why I'm not doing that because it takes too much work. Alright, looks like the top right platform is dead, and let's continue looping across the target to the left one. This ship shouldn't be that much damage, it does remote target onto you, just be aware of that. It can be blocked by mountains, but there aren't really many around here. Continuing on across this target, here's the large one. Let's go ahead and stop early, grab that one, and as soon as it's dead, go forward for the brimstone. Looks like I had 1 or 2 rockets come at me, but they really didn't do any damage. And then keep going for the second brimstone on that same platform. So far, damage taken actually is quite low and looks to be reasonable, but of course I have not engaged the center of the target yet. At this point, it might even be instant repair if I were to retreat. And I'll say that the blue mortars, which have higher projectile speed and a tiny bit more damage, I believe, actually do seem to be helping out quite a lot now that I do have more than half my fleet with those mortars on there. Alright, let's go ahead and come up with a strategy or plan as we continue across this target. There is this one brimstone which I do want to take down quite early, and then try not to get in range of too many of these other turrets while I do that, but I might not have a choice, and shift click this one so I don't lose that range ring. And then for these different turrets, it looks like it might be best to hide behind this wall and then this one, sort of wind my way clockwise closer, or just I should have approached it from the top, one of the two, we'll see. But before we do that, there is this other stuff at the bottom of the target I do want to get through first. And you may be watching this video and saying there's a better path. Maybe you actually want to engage the center core target. Once you're at the middle, save a little bit of time. That's always the intent with these videos, show you the mechanics, how these things work, and a pretty good path, pretty good driving, pretty good tips. So when you engage this target yourself, you do take less damage. If it ends up being a month from now and this target's still here and I make a different video on there where I have a slightly different best path that I found, then I'll go ahead and do that. But I definitely want to use these mountains to block off as much damage from this as possible. It looks like I can do it with this set of 3 right here and potentially loop over a little bit closer to this top one. I think just in the interest of showing what's possible, I'll try to do this close one, and like I said, these mountains should block off this damage. I should be able to sit right behind here with no worries at all. And maybe once those things have actually fired, and if they all hit around the same time, I would be able to run over towards these 3. Let's see if I can do that now. Things just fired, some of those just got blocked by the mountains. It looks like I took a little bit of rocket damage from one that wasn't quite blocked, but here we go, another set. That's blocked off nicely, and let's try and actually run backward. So I'm just showing you these mountains can block things, but if you are near the edge, it's going to hurt a little bit. Shouldn't have taken that much extra damage. I'm going to loop over to these 2 on the top right here and see what's possible with those ones. Of course, also do have these 4 vultures to worry about. You can block those with mountains, but there's none near this cluster, so we're not going to bother with that. Alright, go ahead and zoom on in. Stay away from these firing arcs as much as you possibly can. Use these two mountains, set them so you're blocking most of the target, and then run right in. Let's see if this can avoid some of this damage. Looks like these two close ones are being blocked quite well. So is this third one here, and the fourth one here is blocked too. Look at that. You should be able to do the center target with no damage from these Thunderclaps. That's a fantastic way to do this target. There you go. And if you just engage this right in the middle, you shouldn't have anything to worry about. Let's see if I can't get just a little bit closer here. Okay, those just fired. Let's get into range of these ones now. This last few shots where you're in range, before you kill them quickly, you're going to take a little bit of damage from. That shouldn't be that bad, and finish it off here. Now this target, I believe, does pay out 24,000 points, which is fairly good, although I have no idea what damage will take on auto. I'll leave that as the top pin comment in YouTube here. I'll try it right after I go through this video. Let's go ahead and see what other things we have here to finish out. Now this is replacing the 182, which was about 15,000 points per hour of damage on auto, and could be done much lower driving. Well, let's go ahead and check the battle report and the build. Damage taken is pretty much even explosive and penetrative, which seems pretty nice to me, no complaints there. I do have a pretty even damage distribution in terms of my armor. Of course, no damage was actually taken. Also a pro tip, if you wanted to use the Orion or the Bunker Buster rockets, you should be able to do that in this target. 37 minutes of repair for 24,000 points, and that was driving using a steelhead screw with a U3, U0, U0, U2, and U2 fleet. The build is pretty standard. It is shown here and is also in my Google Doc in the YouTube description if you want to find the hash code or see it zoomed in a little bit further. Plenty of people have asked for that, so I gave that as a resource to help people. Well, there's my results from this thing, and seems like a pretty interesting target if you do want to drive it. Nothing too insane. It's easier than it actually looks. As I said at the beginning of the video, it did look kind of scary and wasn't even that difficult. I'll probably just stick to autoing the 163s for now. And of course, the 143s are another new option. Well, thank you everyone so much for watching. If you want to leave a like for the YouTube algorithm, you can go ahead and do that. I don't really care about those. I care about helping people. Anyway, this is Derpy signing out, helping you be a better pirate.